Have you ever looked at the world and wished for a fresh start? A complete reset button for all the wrong things you see? This is a powerful human feeling, a desire for renewal that echoes through history. In the ancient book of Genesis, we find a story that explores this very idea on a grand and terrifying scale. It is the story of a global flood, an event so catastrophic that it wiped the slate of civilization clean, leaving only one family to begin again. This narrative, in Genesis 6:9, unfolds in 4 chapters. Introducing the flood, building the ark, 40 days of rain, and a promise in the sky. It is a tale of judgment, but it is also a tale of salvation. The story begins with a divine observation. God looks upon the earth and sees a world spiraling out of control. The text says that the wickedness of humanity was great, and every intention of the thoughts of their hearts was only evil continually. This wasn't just a few bad deeds. It was a deep, pervasive corruption that had poisoned the very fabric of existence. God's heart, the scripture tells us, was filled with pain. This profound sorrow led to a difficult and monumental decision: to bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, in which is the breath of life from under heaven. It was a decision born from deep grief over a creation that had turned so far from its intended goodness. This part of the story introduces us to the central conflict that readers have wrestled with for centuries. Is this the act of a just God or a merciless one? The scale of the destruction is difficult to comprehend. The idea of a divine being choosing to eliminate almost all of humanity is a sobering and challenging concept. It forces us to ask hard questions about the nature of evil and the appropriate response to it. The narrative doesn't shy away from the severity of the judgment. It presents a world so broken that the only solution, from the divine perspective, was to start over completely, to wash away the stain of wickedness that had saturated the land. However, amidst this grim diagnosis of humanity, the story introduces a single point of light. The text declares, "But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord." This simple sentence is the pivot upon which the entire narrative turns. Noah is described as a righteous man, blameless in his generation, who walked with God. He stands in stark contrast to the world around him. His existence provides the alternative to complete annihilation. God's decision was not just to destroy, but also to preserve. God's plan for preservation was as specific as his plan for destruction was total. He did not simply spare Noah, he gave him a mission. God instructed Noah to build an ark, a massive vessel designed to withstand the coming deluge. The instructions were precise, outlining the materials. The instructions were precise, outlining the dimensions. The instructions were precise, outlining the structure. It was to be made of gopher wood. It was to be sealed with pitch inside. It was to be sealed with pitch outside to make it waterproof. It would have 3 decks. It would have multiple rooms. It would have a single window near the roof. This was not a small boat. It was an enormous floating sanctuary, engineered for survival on a scale never before imagined. Noah's response to this command is a testament to his character. The task was monumental, likely taking decades to complete. Imagine a gigantic boat on dry land, far from any major body of water. He would have faced ridicule and disbelief from his neighbors. Yet the Bible states simply, Noah did this. He did all that God commanded him. His obedience was absolute. He trusted the divine warning and dedicated his life to the divine command. The moment the door of the ark was sealed, the world outside changed forever. The divine judgment began. All the fountains of the great deep burst forth. The windows of the heavens were opened. This was not an ordinary storm. Relentless rain from above, a massive upwelling from below. The world was being uncreated, returned to the watery chaos of Genesis 1. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rain fell without ceasing, until every high hill was submerged. The ark was lifted up, a sole vessel of life in an ocean of death. Inside, terrifying, surreal. They were safe, yet surrounded by a world's death throes. For 150 days the waters prevailed, and the ark drifted by the will of God. Just as God had initiated the flood, he also brought it to an end. But God remembered Noah, and all the beasts, and all the livestock that were with him in the ark. This remembering is covenant action, not a jogged memory. God caused a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters began to recede. The fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were closed. The ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Noah sent a raven, then a dove. At last the dove returned with an olive leaf, proof of new life. After more than a year, God said, "Go out from the ark, you, your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives." They built an altar and offered a sacrifice. God vowed never again to destroy all life by flood, setting his rainbow as an everlasting sign. The story of the flood does not leave its readers with easy answers. It forces us to grapple with difficult theological questions. One central debate is the tension between divine justice and divine mercy. How can a loving God sanction such widespread destruction? Some point to extreme wickedness, seeing the flood as just and protective of creation. Was it global or a massive regional cataclysm? Scientists, historians, and theologians differ. Some read it literally, others regionally, others as theological polemic in dialogue with ancient flood myths like the Epic of Gilgamesh. Beyond debates, Noah symbolizes faithful obedience amid corruption, acting when it seems absurd. The narrative is about new beginnings. The flood clears the old, the rainbow seals hope. Ultimately, Noah's story remains relevant today, on this day, in the 21st century, an allegory of destruction and renewal. It calls us to care for the earth and each other, confronting evil and building a better future. In a world of great beauty and great harm, may we build arks of hope rather than just brace for the storm.